Hello, this is Natalia from ASVAB Success, and today I'm going to review the questions I have been posting for you guys to practice this with this week. So I asked, you guys answered, you do want to see the videos again, so it's back by popular demand. So this week I posted 4 different questions. I'm going to go ahead and go over them with you in detail. So first question, Brian and Jess bought a gift for their father together. The gift was a total of $114. If Brian contributed twice as much money as Jess, how much did Jess spend? Okay, so this kind of question is actually, I like to call them algebra word problems. And the reason I call them that is because the easiest way to solve this, in my opinion, is to just write an algebra equation for them, okay? So, Brian and Jess bought a gift for their father together. The gift was a total of $114. From that statement, I figure out that Brian spent a certain amount of money and Jess spent a certain amount of money. And that money together equals the $114, which is the price of the gift. Okay? Now, the second part says, or I guess the third sentence, right? If Brian contributed twice as much as Jess. So what Brian did is 2 times Jess. You see how I'm turning the words into equations? Okay? So Brian gave or contributed whatever twice as much as Jess. How much did Jess spend? So what I've done is I've created 2 different equations. What I need to do now is wherever, because this is B equals, wherever I see B in this first equation, I'm going to substitute it with what B equals. Okay? So if B is 2J, I can rewrite this first equation and say, well, B is actually 2J plus J equals 114. So all I did was rewrite the first equation, but I replaced the B with the 2J because this one tells me that that's what it's equal to. Now, why did I do that? Because when I'm solving for something, if I have 2 variables, it makes it very difficult for me to be able to figure out what the value of one of them is. So by eliminating one of them or getting rid of one of them, I'm making it easier for myself to solve, okay? So now 2J plus J gives me 3J equals 114. What I did was I combined these 2, I added them together. Now this 3 is multiplied to the J, so what I'm going to do is divide by 3, okay? And 114 divided by 3, we get 3 times 3, 9. Bring down the 4. 3 times 8 gives me 24. Okay, so this I'm solving, remember, for J equals 38. Now, let's go back and ask ourselves, what did the question ask me for? It asked me for how much Jess spent. So I am done. $38 because I found J for Jess. Okay? All right. Remember, if you have questions about any of this, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be more than happy to help you with it, okay? Now, next question. If one of the angles of a right triangle is 30 degrees, what are the other 2 angles? So I like to visualize things. So it's telling me that there's a right triangle. This is what a right triangle looks like, right? It has one right angle, which means one of the angles is 90 degrees, okay? What else do we know about triangles? We know that all the angles add up. All angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. One of the angles of a right triangle is 30 degrees. So let's say it's this one. So 90 and 30. What are the other 2 angles? Okay, this is the one that's given to us. What is this one? Well, if all of the angles add up to 180, 90 plus 30 gives me 120. 180 minus 120 is 60, right? To get to 180, I need 60. So I know this other one is 60. Now the question is asking me, what are the other 2 angles? Well, that sounds tricky, right? Well, 90 and 60. Those are the other two angles. So our answer here is C. Okay? All right. Awesome. Let's keep going. We still have more questions to do. So next question says, Gail's savings account balance is $14,080. If he originally deposited $8,800 into the account 10 years ago, what is the simple interest rate the account is earning? Okay, so here, this statement right here, simple interest, tells us that this is a simple interest question, and we're going to use the equation I equals principal, so interest equals principal times the simple interest rate times time. Okay, so let's start figuring out what everything is. The time, 10 years. The principal is the original deposit, so 8,800. Okay, now we don't know what the simple interest rate is. That's what we're looking for. Okay, but it doesn't tell us what the account has earned. Instead, it gives us the account balance. So what we have to do is we have to actually subtract. So we have to subtract to figure out, okay, if let's say Gail deposits 8,800 and now he has 14,080, that means the other amount, like the rest of the money that's in there, came from interest. So by subtracting, we can figure out how much interest he has earned. So we're going to do 0, 8, 10 minus 8 is 2, 13 minus 8 is 5. So the interest is 5,280, okay? Now that we've deposited, now that we've subtracted, now we can write everything in our equation. 5,280, which is the interest, is equal to principal 8,800 times, we don't know the rate, but we do know that the time is 10. So we can multiply these two, 8,800 times 10, and that gives me 88,000. I'm just adding a 0 to the end of that. And now, because this is multiplied to the r, I'm going to divide it. Okay, this cancels out. I can eliminate a 0 here. And now I'm going to do 528 divided by 8,800. So obviously, this is going to give me a decimal because it's like a lot bigger than the other one. So then we're going to do 0. So 8,800 goes into 528 0 times. We're going to add a decimal, 0. Okay. 8,000 goes into 5,280. Again, 0 times. So now 0 again. 8,800 goes into 52,800. Okay. So these are very large numbers. What I like to do is I like to round them. So 8,800 is close to 9,000. 9 times 6 gives me 54, which is pretty close to 52. So let's try 6. So I'm going to multiply that up here because I have some space. 8,800 times 6. All right, 6 times 0, 0. 6 times 0, 0. 6 times 8, 48. Carry the 4. 6 times 8, 48 plus 4, 52. So look at that. It's exactly 6. Okay, so now that I have rate equals 0.06, I realize that this is a decimal. And these are presented as percents. So how do I convert a decimal into a percent? I multiply it by 100. So I have to go 1, 2, move that decimal point 2 to the right, and it gives me 6%. So the answer for this question is A. Now this is a tough question. There's a lot of steps here. So if you got this one right, you should be very proud of yourself. And if you got it wrong, don't be too hard on yourself because once again, it's a tough question. So if it was a little confusing, I encourage you to just kind of rewind this and watch this part again. But always feel free to leave a comment below and ask me any question and I'll be more than happy to help you, okay? All right, let's keep going. We have one more. So, new question is, A park commissioner designs a new playground in the shape of a pentagon. If he plans to have a fountain at every corner of the park, how many fountains are there? Okay, so if it's the shape of a pentagon, how many corners does a pentagon have? Well, a pentagon has 5 sides and 5 corners. And if there's a fountain at each corner, that means that there are, I circled too big, sorry. There's 5 fountains, okay? So that one was pretty easy, you just had to know what a pentagon is. All right, that's it for our questions for this week. Thank you for joining me, I guess, and tuning in and watching this video. Please let me know how I can help you better. Remember, I teach these classes with details on the questions 3 times a week with our course registrants. So if you are interested in joining our classes, please let me know. You can register for our course, and you can also try out our free course. Okay, good luck as you continue to study for the ASVAB.